Shit. Okay. We didn't expect that. Why is it coming out so dark? It's so weird. Why is it coming out so dark? It's so weird. Why is it coming out so dark? It's so weird. Why is it coming out so dark? Yo. Yo.
What happened?
What do you mean?
That shit just like stopped. Never showed your face, nothing.
Yeah. No, I had to get on another one. Like it's for some reason it's coming out dark. I don't know why. You know, I have to check the camera settings. Hold on.
Might be your lighting in the room.
No, bro. There's plenty of light. It's the camera. I'm coming out too dark on the thing.
Now I got people texting me about seeing this shit that.
Yeah, you may have sent them the wrong stream. Hold on. Let me check something here.
He's doing another one. Stand by.
It's better there. And if I go back here, right? Still kind of dark back there. Let me see. Way to figure this out. Better. Yeah, I was trying to do the logo in the back, but I'm going to probably just cut it off because the camera's darkening me and lighting up the logo.
Oh,
Do you see it? Like, cause then I bring it closer, then the lighting gets like better.
oh, wait, wait, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, but it's too close, but it's good though. It's got good color.
But I wanted to get the logo, but it's not.
Oh, I see what's going on. It's focusing on the TV.
Right. So I gotta turn the TV off.
Yeah.
Sorry guys. I tried to add the logo, guys, but it is what it is. TV's gotta go off. There we go.
Got it.
There we go. Ah. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Don't worry. That's why we're doing this. We're gonna get it right before the season starts. All right. All right. I know you guys been waiting for it. Again, excuse the technical difficulties. We'll get it right before the season. As I'm still trying this out, getting into my new place and stuff like that. I'm gonna have a better setup. Work on some things before the season. I will confer with the commish, and then we'll talk about what we need to do to make this better. I can already tell from the camera that it's already looking better than doing it on the phone. We'll get these lives up, and we'll share we'll share it. But and for anyone who misses this, the whole concept of it is to go live, but the video also records. So like once I go live, if everybody can't get live, I will send the link in the chat, in one of the chats, and then we'll go from there. All right. So basically, let me get into focus now. Let me look at the camera. As you all know, I do a recap video based on the draft after the draft. And I do not include myself because greatness can't grade greatness. So, I leave myself off. I leave that for others to be the judge. And I go ahead and I go through your teams. I rate your players. And then at the end of the video, I give a grade on the video. Hey, how's the voice? How's the microphone? Can you hear me? We good to go on the mic? Okay. So I will continue. Thank you, Commish. I will continue with the video. All right. Without further ado, we are give some other people some time to get on. But again, whatever you missed, you can look at on the YouTube video because the live will record and then you can rewatch the video. So let's get on to it. As you know, it's 2023 draft, one of the heaviest drafts that we've had in a very long time, equipped with multiple tight ends, wide receivers, and running backs. As you know, we went tight end premium this year. We made the tight end position more relevant, even though you guys voted down 2 tight ends, which we will, I'm sure we will revisit in the future since tight end is a big topic now. So we went more tight end relevant. We also added a little bit more to the running backs and a little bit more to the wide receivers. So everybody eats, but we, myself and the commish, felt that we needed to make the tight end more premium because starting one tight end and then having to cover bye weeks and also with the flex positions that we have, we figure if we made the tight end more relevant, then of course, the 5, top names that it will make the league a little bit more fun. And as we can all see with the draft and other things like that, it will make the position more of a worthy one. So without further ado, I am going to start my process of talking about your picks. And at the end of the draft, I will give you an overall grade. Starting off, okay, we all know what happened with pick number 1. No need to talk about that. Pick number 2, Jahmyr Gibbs to Mikey. Mikey addressed the need of running back that he needed with Saquon on a franchise tag. And one of the positions that he needed was running back. It sucks that Jahmyr Gibbs went to Detroit, but as Mikey was a winner in both fronts, Detroit traded Swift to the Eagles. So Mikey didn't get one running back. Didn't have 2 running backs on the same team. The fantasy guys blessed him by sending DeAndre Swift, who I think will start with Philly, over to Philly. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think will get a bulk of the touches. And on my opinion, I think that David Montgomery will get the goal line touches, sort of like what they did with Williams last year. I think my opinion is going to be more of the same with that. Jahmyr Gibbs, we all know what he did at Alabama. He is a true 3-down back. I wish that he had the backfield to himself, but it is what it is. He will make the Detroit offense better. He will make Mikey better. And great pick, Mikey, at the number 2 spot. At number 3, AR-15 to Goggles. Goggles got AR-15. It is projected that he might start sooner rather than later, even though they have Gardner Minshew at the position. We know why you did it, Goggles, because of your trade with Chino. You got rid of Jalen Hurts for AR-15. I don't know if that's going to come back and bite you. It helps Chino out now, but I know you were one of the older teams, so you wanted to get younger. AR-15 is raw, but very smart and has all the measurables. Going to Indy, they are remaking the offensive line, and you have Pierce, Downs, and Pittman to work with. So not a bad 3 to work with. You also got Mallory at the tight end, and you have Jelani Woods or whatever his name is, one of my tight ends. We'll see what happens. I think in the long run, he could be a stud in the right system. I think that the Indianapolis coach is going to make him into Jalen Hurts. So if that happens, then kudos to you because you have a quarterback to replace Aaron Rodgers, who we all know is going to retire in like a year or 2. So I would have, if I was in your position, I would have done the same thing at 3. Next up, Cheesehead. I'm sorry, not Cheesehead. I'm sorry. Next up, the commish for CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud went to Houston. The commish didn't need quarterback, but he wanted to get younger, and he got himself back into this draft to get younger. Planning on the future rather now than rather wait for later. So I understand that. We all want to get young. This is a dynasty. We all want young players on our team. Commish draft CJ Stroud, which was the better pick over Bryce Young. So I understand that. Could have went any other position, but I understand the need to build a young team. He already has good quarterbacks, but CJ Stroud going to Houston has a chip on his shoulder, is going to start right away, and can cover the Commish's bye weeks. And also because Zach Wilson didn't pan out it's a nice replacement for him. Houston was the right spot for him. He has receivers, and they're eventually going to build the offense around him. So that was a nice and understanding pick for the commish at number 4. Teddy at number 5, Bryce Young. You lost Tom Brady. Understand that. So you got the best available quarterback on the board, which is Bryce Young. I am scared of his size, but I think that he will benefit in Carolina from having, from having Frank Reich as his coach, Mingo at the slot. You have, what's his freaking name? You have DJ Shark at the other wide receiver, and you have Adam Thielen at the other wide receiver. Miles Sanders in the backfield rounds out that offense. So I think he has a good starting point. I just hope that he's durable enough, and the Carolina offensive line is good enough to make up for his lack of size. But very, very smart quarterback. And you addressed your quarterback need after Brady retired, so I like the pick. Next up, the commish picks Dalton Kincaid. The first monkey wrench thrown in the draft because nobody saw the tight end going that high. The commish addresses a need that he needed in getting the tight end. Plus, he already had Dawson Knox. So now you have the starter, and now you have the backup. Excellent, excellent pick. The Bills have a strong needed tight end as well as a second wide receiver. If Kincaid's back is healed up, with us being tight end premium, this pick should go a very long way. I like the pick, and as we all know, after the draft, Goggles was going to go after him anyway. So 2 picks later. So you did the right thing. You drafted the right guy. They're going to have to throw in Buffalo. If he can be a healthy version of himself, then he should be up there in the top tight ends in his rookie season. But we never know what's going to happen. Remember, Kyle Pitts was supposed to be top 10 and everything like that, and he's a right tackle. So what do you got? All right, keep it moving. Next up, Kane's gang, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Makes all the sense in the world. Just traded DK. You get DK's replacement in the slot. You know me. I'm a big guy on slot receivers. Slot receivers, I feel, eat more than the other receivers because they're the closest thing to a security blanket for the quarterback other than tight end. So Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he can hold up off the injuries, Kane's gang, to me, got one of the better wide receivers on the board. But again, he has to hold up. He does have an injury history, and Seattle ain't got the greatest weather, but everything like that. But he should make Seattle better because now they have 3-headed monster instead of 2-headed monster, and with their running backs, they should be good to go. So way to get rid of DK, out with the old and in with the new, and Jack Smith and Jigba. Hopefully he holds up. My only question on him is his durability. Next up, the second shocker of the draft, Goggles takes Devin Achane as he starts his running back trend. Devin Achane will not play unless some of these running backs get hurt for the Dolphins. So it was more of a future pick, but I understand the need with you losing Zeke. Nobody, just to throw that in there, nobody's going to sign Zeke. Nobody's going to sign Zeke. All right. So I understand the pick for that reason. I think Teddy would have ended up getting him at 10 if you didn't take him there. But Teddy doesn't have a need for running back now. It was basically for a future pick. So Devon Achane will probably return kicks this year, but I don't see him starting this year unless Wilson or Mostert get hurt, or something happens. He may get in and he may get time or whatever, but this is you obviously, with this being a dynasty, you drafted this running back for a year to 2 years down the road. Keeping it moving. Makes all the sense in the world for Kane's gang to take Will Levis. Don't understand why Will Levis dropped so much in the draft. I don't know the reasons, but he did drop. But with Kane's gang having Ryan Tannehill, and then Will Levis being basically the last quarterback off the board to who's eventually going to start, it made all the sense in the world. So Way to do your homework, Canes gang, and I know you'll be happy when he takes over for Ryan Tannehill. Now, he's not coming into much. Excuse me. He's not coming into much at Tennessee. We all know that they're trying to get behind the cap and everything like that, but they're eventually going to have to build around him because Malik Willis is not the guy. So bad for Mikey, good for you. So let's just see if he starts right away. Let's see if Ryan Tannehill is a June 1st cap casualty. If not, if he is, then kudos. You got Will Levis. If not, then he's just going to have to wait a little bit for the team to either win or and to help your point, lose, and then he'll eventually get in. Malik Willis will be the backup, but Will Levis eventually will be the starter. So great pick for you right there at 9. Teddy makes all the sense in the world. Got these to me the second best receiver off the board, and Zay Flowers, only because I don't like his size. But Zay Flowers is supposed to be quote unquote the next Antonio Brown, without all the craziness and all the clown acts. Zay Flowers is in Baltimore. Now there's receivers, and now there's receivers help. And again, you know how I feel. Zay Flowers plays the slot. So he should, other than Mark Andrews, get a bulk of the balls from Lamar Jackson. I see him having a better time in Baltimore than Hollywood Brown did. But you never know. You never know. I mean, games still got to be played and everything like that. But I think that Zay Flowers will be better than Hollywood Brown and will have a great rookie season. So way to add a young wide receiver to your already great class of receivers, along with Garrett Wilson from last year, Teddy. Next up, Quentin Johnson. I understand this pick at the 2-1. I don't like it, but hey, it's not my team. But I understand why the commish did it. He not only has the quarterback for that team, but he has one of the other receivers for that team. And with that receiver always gets hurt. He's not too far from being out of the league, and Mike Williams, so I understand the pick. So even though that they're and the way that this draft went, it didn't matter anyway, and we'll get to that later. But Quentin Johnson was right for you right there, so I understand it. If Mike Williams gets hurt, automatically inserted. You have Justin Herbert, and it goes well with Quentin Johnson, and they have the size. So should Mike Williams get hurt, you don't have anything to worry about. Will he have impact right away? I think that he'll move to the number 2 position, and I think that Keenan Allen will move to the slot. So he may get playing time right away, but hey, what do I know? But they are a force to be reckoned with that receiving core and Austin Eckler in the backfield. And the Miami Dolphins will find that out week 1. Next up, here goes the run on tight ends. Michael Mayer to Mikey. I understand it. He'll eventually start. He's not going to start right away. They paid O.J. Howard, and they paid, what's his name? Austin Hooper. So he's not going to, unless they run multiple 2 tight end sets, he's not going to start right away, but you got one of the better young tight ends that will eventually start for the Raiders and is a hell of a blocker and pass catcher. So another good pick for you, Mikey, at the 2-2. 3. All right, here's my first issue of the draft. Future has Dallas Goedert at tight end. You can start one tight end and you can have multiple flexes, but I understand with us being tight end premium, maybe that like clouded your vision or something like that. But I don't think that Sam Laporta was the pick at 2-3. I think Zach Charbonnet, with you having Kenneth Walker and it being a toss-up for playing time, plus if Kenneth Walker starts, then Charbonnet is the backup. If Charbonnet starts, then Kenneth Walker is the backup. You know, with you trading away Alexander Madison, Dalvin Cook getting cut, you're going to be very thin at running back, thinner than sliced ham. And I think that Charbonnet was the pick here. You chose Laporta. Laporta goes to an offense with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Who's the receiver they just got from Jacksonville? Marvin Jones. It's only one ball. And Sam Laporta was drafted for his blocking ability. So don't expect big numbers. I think this was the wrong pick, but I understand the run on tight end. People got panicky, may have gotten a tight end. I'm just giving my opinion. I don't like the pick. Charbonnet should have been the pick here at the 2-3. Moving on, Cheesehead. Cheesehead didn't have many picks in this draft because his love of the Packers, he traded for 2 Packers. And it's ironically, he gets Luke Musgrave, the tight end for the Packers. Remember, the Packers have a bye week in week 6. I understand why you did it, Cheese. Well, not only because you're a Packer fan, but also the need at tight end. You get younger there. Luke Musgrave injured his knee last year, but the game that he had before he injured his knee, he showed unparalleled athleticism at the tight end position at 6'6". If he is healed up from the knee, your quarterback, Jordan Love, has a great target to throw to, a big target. Even though they did draft another tight end, it just shows me that the offensive line is shaky and they want to run 2 tight end sets because Musgrave can block and Kraft can also block in the Packers. But again, don't expect much. There's a lot of mouths to feed over there in Green Bay, but it's okay because you have half the team. So I wouldn't worry about much, but a good pickup for you. Next up, the second, excuse me. Whoa. Give me a second, guys. I lost my draft board. Sorry about that. All right, let's get back to it. All right, to me, the second reach at 2-5, Tank Bigsby at Jacksonville. I don't understand this pick. I don't know why this pick was done. Teddy could have had maybe another tight end. He could have had one of the top wide receivers. Even though he got one, he could have added on, and you could have had one of the younger top wide receiver cores in this draft, along with Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers. You could have added Addison. You could have added Mingo, Downs, Mims, anybody, Reed. I don't understand this pick because you don't have the starting running back from Jacksonville. And to take him so high at the 2-5, like he is the backup to Travis Etienne. Unless you know an injury or you can foresee the future and of it being an injury with Travis Etienne, I don't understand this pick of Tank Bigsby so high. He wasn't rated this high. I think it was a reach. And unless you're planning on trading with all day and y'all are doing a backdoor deal I don't know about, I really don't understand this pick for you because he doesn't start right away and all he does is sit on your bench. And Travis Etienne, correct me if I'm wrong, is headed into his 3rd year. So it's not like he's heading into his 8th year. So you'd have to explain to me this pick because I'm a little perplexed by the pick. Okay. So I don't like that pick. Horrible pick at the 2-5. Next up, Canes Gang selects Luke Shoemaker, the tight end for Dallas. I know that basically this pick was based off of seeing the tight ends go off the board because, of course, Canes Gang has Mark Andrews. So he doesn't really need a tight end. Lamar's back. Everybody's back. Andrews, as long as he's healthy, will have a bounce back year. So I know you did it for future purposes because you know that you'll never get this amount of picks in any draft ever. So I know that you're drafting for the future. You took a page out of All Day and my playbook and just kind of like put your own spin on it. So he'll eventually play. Dallas has 2 tight ends in front of him, but they got him more so for his blocking. So should any of those other 2 tight ends not do their job, they have no problem running 2 tight end sets in Dallas. So I understand this pick of Shoemaker, but it's more of a future rather than a now. So I understand that. But for where Dallas took him and how Dallas utilizes the tight end, I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, he was at Michigan. He didn't do a whole lot at Michigan, but he is known for his blocking. So maybe Dallas needs that. Moving on next, Goggles. Goggles gets the what I feel is a steal at Zach Charbonnet at the 2-7. Should have went to either Teddy or to Future at the 2-3 or the 2-5. Zach Charbonnet is rumored to be in a running back battle with K9, you know, and they say that they like Charbonnet more because he's bigger and they like his pass catching better. So you may have got a steal that might start over Kenyon over Walker. You know, we don't know. We still have training camp to play out, and on top of that, Walker got injured last year, so he's known for his injury history. So don't know why the owner of Kenneth Walker didn't get Charbonnet, but if Charbonnet takes that position or K9 gets hurt, you have one of the better running backs that you can start right away. And since you don't have Zeke, it may work out in your favor. You know, again, I hate to break it to you, Zeke is not going to play anywhere this year. Kareem Hunt is not going to play anywhere this year. All these young running backs are taking these older running back spots. And that's the new NFL, multiple running back teams. This is what we're used to. It is what it is. Moving on. You go again with the running back trade, and you get Keontae Miller. That pick is for the future because with Jamal Williams there, Alvin Kamara, but we don't know what's going to go on with Kamara and his legal issues. Could work out sooner rather than later, but he has to be 100% healthy. He is coming off of ACL, you know, so you have with Charbonnet and him, you have two of the bigger backs that you can just stash away and will hopefully play for you in the future. But right now, he's going to be irrelevant because of Jamal Williams and Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, depending on the legal issue, is going to get some games, but it's not going to be the entire year, I don't think. So you're stacking your running back room, and running backs do make teams, so I understand that. And I'm not mad at you for the pick. Next up, Henny. Where do I start? I don't know. I mean, we know you're a troll, right? We know you're a troll, but we are playing a game here where dynasty means for the future, right? We all can get players and get better and get players for the future, but coming from me, and I'm the worst loser here. You know, yeah, losing sucks. You found out, which why you made your trade with Future, and you mortgaged JJ to make that trade. You don't like losing. You don't like paying doormat fees or anything like that. But I don't know if we're playing chess while you're playing checkers. I don't know if the Dominican music was too loud at the party, or you were eating Dominican cake, or what you were doing, or if you let this pick go to auto pick. But last time I checked, your quarterbacks were Dak, and your quarterback was Geno Smith, who just signed a 3-year deal. So young quarterback. They're not old. They're not retiring anytime soon. Geno just signed a 3-year deal. Dak just signed his deal for the 5 years or whatever it was. You didn't need quarterback. Josh Jacobs, maybe running back, maybe wide receiver. But you don't need tight end. You know, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Darren Waller. Hendon Hooker, when you could have had Addison, Mingo, Downs, Rice, Johnson, Strange, because you're going to lose Evan Ingram. I guess you didn't think about that. You could have had Strange. You could have had Washington. You could have had any one of those before the run on receiver, but you chose a quarterback that you didn't need coming off of a torn ACL who's not going to play anytime soon. That's coming from the head coach, not going to play anytime soon. Then on top of that, they're about to sign Jared Goff to an extension. So you took a quarterback for the future, but for 5 years in the future, when you have needs that you need now. I don't know if you like losing. You told us before the draft that you weren't going to be really paying attention because you had your niece's birthday party. I hope it was worth it. And as you accumulate doormat fees, I want you to think, when you lay down at night, I want you to think of Hendon Hooker and how the people I'm about to name off, you could have had one of those, but you chose not to. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think we all take it serious here, but I just don't think you take it serious. And your team and your picks reflect that. Like, you had picks. Like, I did better with my 5th round picks than you did with your picks. We'll come back to you in a moment. Moving on. Jesus Christ. Next up. So by you picking Hooker, you allowed the second best route runner behind Zay Flowers to go to Kane's gang and Jordan Addison. So now not only does he have Jackson Smith and Jigba, but now he has Jordan Addison, 2 plug-and-play receivers that are going to start right away in the slot and make differences for their team. Right? JJ, didn't think about that, huh, Poppy Henny? JJ is going to get the number 1 corner, so I could have the slot receiver. You know what? Forget it. Forget it. Excellent pick, Kane's gang. To get Jordan Addison at the 210, you other owners should be ashamed of yourself. Jordan Addison should have went higher than this, but I understand the scary run on tight ends, and maybe us being tight end premium kind of scared you off, or maybe him playing with JJ scared you off. I'm here to tell you right now, Biletnikoff winner. He will play the slot. KJ Osborne will play the 2. JJ will be the 1. This guy will have a hell of a year playing in a dome in the slot position. Maybe TJ Hawkinson is affected. Maybe KJ is affected a little bit, but hell of a pick to get a starting slot receiver at the 210. Again, another receiver you could have had, Henny, Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo turns into the slot receiver in Carolina and becomes Bryce Young's security blanket because they don't really have a tight end there. And Terrence, whatever his name is, Mitchell, whatever, he's going to take his position like that. So you got DJ Shark on one side, you have Adam Thielen on the other side. Jonathan Mingo is at the slot. And also, I understand the run on tight ends, but for Mingo to fall at the 3-1, you guys are just letting the rich get richer. And also, the rich get younger in the commish as he gets another young receiver to add to his roster along with Quentin Johnson. All right? Next up, Mikey. Mikey, this is one of my favorite receivers. I wish I could have gotten him. Josh Downs. Josh Downs comes in, another slot receiver. Do you guys get the pattern here? Do you guys know the positions? All right, let me break it down for you. It's the 1, the 2, and the slot. Even though I gave up most of these draft picks, to have multiple slot receivers is just money. I see money for Flowers. I see money for Addison. I see money for Mingo. And I see money for Downs. Indianapolis doesn't have a proven tight end. So I think Josh Downs and AR-15 are going to be money. They're going to be money. With Pierce being a 6'3", bigger receiver and Pittman being 6'3", 6'4", I think Josh is the perfect position to play that slot. And you can start him right away and not worry about it, no matter if AR-15 starts or if the backup quarterback starts for the Colts. I think he'll be good either way. Josh Downs, I've seen it. I'm sure you guys have seen it with North Carolina playing UM. He torched UM. I know what the guy can do. Hell of a pick at the 3-2 to get that receiver there. Now we come to Henne, Boston Henne at the 3-3. Again, if you were going to troll with your draft picks, I would have rather you traded him. I'm sure the commish feels the same way, that you traded your picks, because there's no logic with the picks. I don't know if you feel like because you're in Boston, you're not subject to doormat fees. I don't know if you forgot in whatever goes on in that do-rag tighten head of yours. Maybe you should loosen up the do-rag. I don't know what goes on, but like sometimes I have to talk to the commish because he handpicked you for this league. You say that people are raping you and that you don't know more about football, but you accepted the invite. Like I just don't understand, especially with you being in the bottom and you paying a lot of doormat fees. You want your team to get better, and these two picks did nothing for your team for right now. Marvin Mims at the 3-3. Horrible pick. When you could have had Rashee Rice, when Kansas City got rid of all their wide receivers, you could have had Jaden Reed for Green Bay. You could have had Rashawn Johnson. You could have had Strange because Evan Ingram's out of there. So you got to get the backup tight end. You could have. I would have accepted any of those picks. You don't know why I could have accepted any of those picks for you? Because you already have Courtland Sutton. You already have Courtland Sutton. Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick coming off a knee injury. So do you know something I don't know? Is Courtland Sutton going to get cut and you wanted the insurance? Or I don't know what's going on. You know, I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And you know the difficulty that Denver had last year with Russell Wilson. Why? Nobody would touch a Denver wide receiver right now, especially even drafting one. And you draft one Denver wide receiver when you already have another Denver wide receiver. It's a good thing I don't have my soundboard up right now because it's just a fail. I'm just gonna move on. It's no even reason to talk about it. Horrible draft pick. Then you allow the commission to come back and get Rashee Rice, who Kansas City moved up in the draft for. So now the commission starting to stack receivers for the future. Rashee Rice will play now. They got rid of Juju. They need somebody on that team, and also the commission wanted Sky Moore's replacement because he traded for Sky Moore, and Sky Moore is irrelevant. So big receiver. Let's see what Patrick Mahomes can do. We all know that Travis Kelce is the number one on that team. Let's be honest. But if they can get anything out of Rashee Rice, then watch out. Kansas City is going to be dangerous. Didn't expect them to go back to the Super Bowl, but if Rashee Rice can give them something that Sky Moore couldn't, hell of a steal at the 3-4. Next up, Teddy took Jaden Reed out of wide receiver. I like this pick. You add another young receiver, and you make up for the Bigsby pick and losing out on Addison, Mingo, Downs, and Rice. I think Reed will eventually work himself into the slot because he is smaller than Christian Watson at 6'4" and Romeo Doubs. He might even take catches away from Romeo Doubs. It's going to be interesting. I have to see the offense and what they're going to do, but I like that pick for you because now you've added Zay Flowers, Reed, and now you have Garrett Wilson. So you have a decent young receiving core going into the season, and these guys are gonna play right away. So minus your Bigsby pick, you know, but we already talked about that. Next up, Roshan Johnson. Love this guy. He's not going to start right away, but I think he'll eventually work his way into the rotation. And big back, doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires, like they all like to say. Played all the years behind Bijan, and we all know what Bijan did. But if you need to see the highlights to see what this guy did, he's a very good back. If he can do what Chicago wants him to do, which is wear down defenses so their quarterback doesn't have to run, it's a win-win across the board. So let's see what happens. He's got a couple people in front of him, but I think he'll eventually get playing time and down the line probably be their running back going forward, not only for his blocking, but for his pass catching as well. So hell of a pick at the 3-6, but I expected Johnson to go around that range in the third. So good pickup for the commish. Canes gang, with getting Jordan Addison and Jackson Smith and Jigba, he went to get depth at the tight end spot. And because Henny didn't take him, took Brendan Strange from Jacksonville, because we all know Evan Ingram is on a 1 year and you're 1 year you're out the door, and then Strange will end up starting next year. So kudos on that. He's a good blocking tight end out of Penn State. So should something happen, you have yourself a starter for next year. So that is a great pickup, Canes gang. I actually like that pickup better than the Luke Shoemaker pickup. Goggles got Darnell Washington. Had to get one of the tight ends. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this pick because of the knee injury. We didn't start hearing about the knee injury till draft day. But with Pat Freiermuth already there, it only helps Kenny Pickett. Plus, they want him for his blocking. Since the offensive line isn't that great, he'll eventually, get catches and stuff like that. But I think he's going to be more utilized as a blocker, especially with Freiermuth there, just telling you the truth. I think Freiermuth is the pass catcher and he's the blocker. And they will use both of them on blocking assignments when they're running Najee Harris. So don't know. I mean, if you really, really need tight end, then that wasn't the guy. But you made up for it later. So we'll see what happens. It is fantasy. Anything can happen. If Freiermuth gets hurt, he's a big 6'8" target. So let's see what happens on that. Then Goggles again. I mean, I guess you had to get a quarterback, and we all know that Matt Stafford's time at the Rams is coming to a close. Stetson Bennett, I mean, it is what it is. He was a winner in Georgia, but we'll see if he gets playing time. He's one of the smaller quarterbacks. We'll see if he gets playing time. This pick would have been more so like unless you plan on trading him to Cheesehead, since Cheesehead has Stafford, maybe it'd have been better to try to make a trade with him or whatever. But Sam Bennett is All right. Next up, Tajay Spears, Teddy again. I know we're having a run on running backs, but last time I checked, you didn't have Derrick Henry. So it's another pick for another backup, which is confusing. Unless you're going to use it as trade pieces, or I don't get it, because you could have had some other guys who are going to play right away if you wanted to go that route and you're looking for running back, as opposed to a guy who's going to sit behind Derrick Henry and Hassan Haskins, who is the backup. I didn't. You could have more value at that 310 is what I'm saying, right? At the 4-2, Zach Evans to Mikey. Good pick. You still have Cam Akers there, but Zach Evans, I mean, I heard he had some knee issues, but if those have cleared up, he's the bigger back. He will get some playing time. Don't know if he's eventually going to start, but it is a good backup to have because we don't know what's going to happen with Cam Akers and the Rams are in a rebuilding spot right now. So I couldn't tell you what's going to happen, but I think he will get some playing time. He's a good back out of Ole Miss, but let's see what he does. At the 4-4, Cheesehead to Kenyon Booty, Mr. I like to ride the train. I like this pick. I don't know, especially with Myers being gone now to the Raiders. It all depends on his work ethic. I don't know why he dropped so low in the draft. I heard he was a speedster. I've seen some of his highlights, but if it works out in New England, you get a good young wide receiver. I like the pickup there. All right, Teddy takes a backup. Then he redeems himself with Jalen Hyatt at the 4-5. Jalen Hyatt, I feel fell this low because of the knee and not the knee, but the hamstring. And we all know coming up in the month of July, those dreaded hamstrings. We're gonna hear about it every week. The hamstring injury. Let's hope the injury doesn't linger because the Giants need wide receivers. So I think that's why he dropped this low. We all know the year that Hyatt had in college. Great wide receiver. So you made up for it on that one, Teddy. Kane's game goes another running back and gets Gray from the Giants. We don't know what's going to happen with Saquon, right? He refuses to sign the franchise tender. I think he'll eventually sign it, but right now, Gray goes right to being his backup. You have Matt Breida there, but he's more of the third down back. So if Saquon leaves and goes to another team, then you automatically get a starter. So that's a nice pickup at the 4-6. Excuse me. All right, next up, Cedric Tillman, wide receiver from Cleveland at the 4-7. I like Tillman. He was the complement to Hyatt at Tennessee, but I don't know where he'll fit in with the Browns because they just drafted that Purdue wide receiver last year. They have Elijah Moore, they have Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they have Amari Cooper. So I really don't know where Tillman fits in. I mean, I guess he's a good piece to have down the road. He is 6'3". He does run good routes, but I'm kind of 60-40 on him. But to get him in the 4th round, hey, I'm sure that you'll take that. But your team is built to win now, Sean. But I know that eventually you're gonna have to stack for the future. So this is one piece to stack in the future. Goggles goes again, running back heavy, again for future purposes with Deuce Vaughn. I like Deuce Vaughn, but with Tony Pollard there, I don't know how much playing time he'll get. I'm sure he'll probably return kicks and he'll probably come in on some third downs or whatever, but I don't see him being every down back. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. He did do his thing in college, but at 5'6", 5'7", I don't know. Hendricks picks up Evan Hull. Evan Hull is the backup to Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if you did this as a trade piece to trade with the commish, or for what purpose, but it doesn't help your team because unless Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, he's not going to start. You could have had maybe somebody else like McBride or Rodriguez. I don't know. But I don't understand this pick at all. I really don't. Doesn't do anything to help you right now, and we all know that you need help at running back. Back to the commish, Xavier Hutchinson. Xavier Hutchinson is one of my sleeper wide receivers. Goes with C.J. Stroud, adds to that receiving core. Michi, Tank Dell, now Xavier Hutchinson. I think CJ Stroud has a nice receiving core that's building up. He didn't get a lot of play because of the Iowa State stuff, but if you've heard of him and you watch his highlights, the guy is good. So to get him at 410 is a steal. And now you have an adequate amount of receivers for the future that if they pan out, you won't have to draft receiver for a while. Next up, Mike takes Israel whatever his name is, the backup running back for the Jets. He has good upside. At 5'11", 216, and he had a good year at Pitt. I think he can beat out Michael Carter. I think that hurts you again, Henny. I think he will eventually beat out Michael Carter, and he will be the backup to Breece Hall. So you got him, but I may have to talk to you about a move for that. I may need that backup, Mikey. I may need that backup. But I had to get a tight end, so that's why I didn't draft him. Next up, Dwayne McBride, the backup running back from Minnesota. Dalvin Cook, we all know the writing's on the wall. June 1st, he's going to be cut. Then Madison will take over the starting reins, and then McBride will be his backup. So not a bad pick there. But we have to see how it pans out. Minnesota running the backfield is a little tricky. It's just a little tricky. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it pans out, and we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, at that point, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right, Boston Henny. Anywho, Cheesehead, Chris Rodriguez, hell of a pick. I think that he has a chance to get in sooner rather than later. I don't think they're really sold on Brian Robinson like that, and I think Antonio Gibson is on his way out the door. If he can prove anything, I don't think it'll be long before Christian Rodriguez gets on the field. So for you to get him at 5'4", I think it's a steal. I think he'll end up starting sooner rather than later for the Commanders. Dorian Thompson Robinson to Teddy. I like the pick, the backup in Cleveland. Maybe you can use him as trade bait, trade to Goggles for one of his running backs. Since he has Deshaun Watson now, he's the backup to Deshaun Watson. And if Deshaun Watson should have any more mishaps with massages, then he'll be starting sooner rather than later. But I like the pick. I like the guy. He was good at UCLA. Canes gang goes full Canes gang and drafts Will Mallory. Adds another young tight end to his stable. Will Mallory, let's see what happens. It's a young offense. Jelani Woods is there, the big tight end that they took out of Virginia last year. But maybe Will Mallory, who's also big, can carve out a role in there. Let's see if they're going to run two tight end sets. So Will Mallory at 5'6" can turn out to be a very good pickup. Let me see. Sean right here for shits and giggles took Clayton Tune or whatever. Unless they cut Colt McCoy, then maybe he could be the backup. I don't want any part of anything dealing with anybody in Arizona, but let's see what happens. But I guess at that point in the 5th round, you're like, just fuck it. Let me just draft somebody. Tucker Kraft to Goggles. Now, your other family member took Luke Musgrave, so I guess you wanted a piece of that Green Bay pie. But Kraft, let's see what happens. He's supposed to be brought in. You picked 2 blocking tight ends out of the tight ends you got. You didn't get pass catchers. You got blockers. Kraft is the blocker. Musgrave is the catcher. Pat Freiermuth is the catcher. Washington is the blocker. So let's see what happens in the future, but they're not going to be getting a whole ton of catches, right? Hendricks. Jaron Hall. Jaron Hall, the BYU quarterback. I understand why you did it. It's actually your best move, I think, of the draft because we don't know what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins. I think that this is his final year in Minnesota, and he will move on. So you get some insurance by getting Jaron Hall in the fifth. Good work on that. And last but not least, you have Michael Wilson. I don't know too much about the guy, to be honest, at that point. He went to Arizona, but I just think that the commish just wanted all the receivers that he can get. So I have to, I can't lie to you guys. Don't know too much about him, but with AJ Green gone and Greg Dortch and Hollywood Brown being there and DeAndre Hopkins, I don't really see him getting on the field anytime soon. But the commish has the luxury of having all the receivers in the draft, so he can go ahead and put them in his taxi squad. There you have it. I have gone over the 5 rounds of the draft. I have gone over all of your picks, and now it's time to give out the grades. Excuse me. Mikey, with all the positions addressed for your team and you not needing any quarterback help, I will give you a B for your draft. You get a B, B plus for your draft. I'm gonna just go in the order of the draft. I'm not gonna go, all over the place. I'm gonna go in the order of the actual draft. Again, I was 1. I'm not giving myself a grade. Mikey, B plus. Henny, F. If I can give you an F plus or a G, I give you a Z or an I for irrelevant. F plus for your draft. Just F plus. Next up, Cheesehead. Cheesehead traded away most of his picks for Jordan Love and Aaron Jones, but to get Musgrave, to get Booty, and to get Rodriguez, to get Younger, and get those picks, I give you a B minus for what you did with your 3 picks. So, good job on those 3 picks. You addressed one position of each need. Next up, Teddy. C minus for your draft. The only reason I give you the C minus, although you did get Reed and Flowers, the Bigsby Spears don't understand those. The Bigsby Spears don't understand those. So I'll give you a C minus for your draft. No, you know what? No, because you did get Bryce Young. So B minus. You did get Bryce Young. You did get Bryce Young, Flowers, and Reed out of it. So B minus. B minus for you, Teddy. B minus for you. Canes gang. A. You get an A for your draft. The only reason why I wasn't an A plus because Mallory, Strains, and Schoonmaker don't really help you right now. But with Smith and Jigba, Will Levis, Addison, and everything else that you did, with trading multiple times for multiple picks, I'll give you an A, sir. Chino, you win already because your team is ready to win right now because of your trades. So this draft, Cedric Tillman and CJ Toon, C minus, borderline D. Tillman doesn't play right now and Toon doesn't play right now. But again, your team is built to win right now. So the D that you're getting is just because you didn't really care about these picks. You're like, fuck those picks. So Chino gets a D on his draft. Goggles drafted all the running backs for the future. Might get some use out of some now, but went running back heavy, and running backs do make the world go round. I agree with you on that. Excuse me. Some of the running backs, like I said, the Deuce Vaughn, I didn't really like that one or whatever. And then your tight ends, like I said, with the blocking tight ends and everything like that, they're not poised to help you out now. But I'll give you a B for your draft. You came for running back. You came from running back. You kicked running back's ass. So I'll give you a B for your draft. Hendricks, D plus. D plus. You didn't address any areas of need until the Minnesota quarterback in the fifth round. The other picks were should have been better than what they were. With Laporta and Hull, should have been way better. As we all know, Laporta should have been Charbonnet, and Hull should have been maybe somebody else. So D plus on that, and the commish. For the foreseeable future, you will not have to worry about wide receiver to be out of this draft, to trade back into this draft, and to get C.J. Stroud, to get Kincaid, who should be, like I said, a top 10 tight end, to get Johnston, Mingo, Rice, Johnson, Hutchinson, A plus. You win the draft. Your league mates allowed you to stack up, and I don't understand how they did it, but it is what it is. So you and Kane's gang really did your thing. So hopefully that was an enjoyable live for you, as it was for me. Remember, as we continue to do this, again, I'm liking the picture. Picture quality is 10 times better with the new camera. We will continue to do the state of the leagues and different things throughout the year on the live platform. And again, you don't have to be live. It's better if you're live because you can comment and stuff like that. I was reading off the draft board, so I couldn't engage with your comments. But other videos, I will be able to gauge your comments and stuff like that. But most of our stuff is going to be on the live. We're trying this out. And once we can incorporate it in the meetings, figure it out on Discord, we might do it there. But for right now, you don't have to be present because the live records itself, which what we were going to do with Zoom until we decided not to do it with Zoom. So even if you miss it or something like that, I will send out the links in the chat. All right. All right. So there you go. There you have it. Enjoy your Saturday, gentlemen. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.